Today, we're diving deep into the top 3 most valuable bicentennial quarter dollars ever discovered, each with jaw-dropping values, fascinating minting mistakes and stories that will blow your mind, so grab your change jar, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which bicentennial quarters could make you rich. The 1976-era bicentennial quarter dollar are so rare that collectors will pay life-changing amounts to own them. Picture this: you're holding a regular-looking quarter in your hand. It's got George Washington on the front, a drummer boy on the back, and the date reads 1776 to 1976, you've seen it 100 times before, right? But what if I told you that one of those very coins? Let's go back in time for a second to 1976, America's 200th birthday. The country was in full celebration. The U.S. Mint wanted to do something special to mark this once-in-a-lifetime milestone. So, for the first time ever, they redesigned circulating coins, the quarter, the half-dollar, and the dollar, all to commemorate the bicentennial of American independence. And that's how the iconic bicentennial quarter was born. One of the most famous and valuable of them all is the 1976 bicentennial quarter, struck on a 40% silver planchet. Normally, circulation quarters were made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, basically, layers of copper and nickel fused together. But a few coins were accidentally struck using the 40% silver planchets meant for collectors' proof sets. Those coins look slightly different: the color, the luster, and even the sound they make when dropped are distinct. These rare silver-clad bicentennial quarters have sold for $10,000 to $25,000 or more depending on their grade. And then there's the ultra-rare 1976 bicentennial quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet. These are believed to have been experimental or accidental test strikes, and they're practically unheard of in the wild. One verified example reportedly fetched over $80,000 in a private sale. Just imagine a 25-cent coin turning into enough money to buy a brand new luxury car. But wait, the excitement doesn't stop there. There are double die obverse and double die reverse errors, where certain parts of the design appear doubled under magnification. You can see this doubling most noticeably on the drummer boy's drumsticks or on the lettering Liberty. The more visible and dramatic the doubling, the higher the value. Strong double dies can bring in $3,000, $5,000, or even $10,000 at auction, especially if they're in mint state condition. Another jaw-dropping error is the off-center strike, where the design isn't perfectly centered on the coin. These errors are rare, but when the date and main design are still visible, collectors go crazy for them. The more off-center it is, the rarer it becomes. Some beautifully off-center bicentennial quarters have sold for $15,000 to $30,000, yes, for a quarter worth 25 cents originally. We're talking about the extraordinary 1976-era bicentennial Eisenhower dollar, a coin that not only commemorates America's independence but also hides secrets that make it one of the most sought-after modern coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint. Stay with me until the end, because you're about to discover how some of these coins, which you might think are just ordinary pocket change, have turned ordinary people into overnight millionaires. The Eisenhower dollar was introduced in 1971 to honor both President Dwight D. Eisenhower and the Apollo 11 moon landing. But the 1976 bicentennial Eisenhower dollar was something different. It was minted to celebrate 200 years of American independence, an iconic coin bearing the dual date 1776 to 1976. On the obverse, it features Eisenhower's portrait designed by Frank Gasparo, while the reverse, created by Dennis R. Williams, showcases the Liberty Bell superimposed over the moon, a powerful symbol of freedom and exploration. One of the most famous is the struck on a silver planchet instead of the intended copper-nickel-clad planchet. While regular circulation coins were struck in copper-nickel, a small number of silver planchets left over from special collector issues somehow made their way into the Denver mint presses. The result? A 40% silver Eisenhower dollar with the D mint mark, something that officially should never have existed. These accidental silver strikes have fetched prices of over $10,000 to $20,000 depending on condition, and a few in pristine mint state grades have sold for even more at major auctions. But it doesn't stop there. Another major rarity comes in the form of off-center strikes and double strikes, errors caused when the coin blank wasn't properly aligned in the press or was struck twice by the dies. These can show parts of the design missing or doubled, creating a dramatic and unmistakable look. A well-defined off-center can easily bring in $3,000 to $8,000, while a dramatic double-struck coin has been known to sell for more than $15,000. And then we come to the truly extraordinary. Coins struck on the wrong planchets entirely. There have been confirmed cases of 1976 Eisenhower dollars struck on quarter planchets, half-dollar planchets, and even foreign coin planchets. Imagine finding a bicentennial Eisenhower dollar that's smaller, lighter, or missing part of the design because it was struck on a blank meant for a completely different coin. These are among the rarest and most valuable errors ever found. Depending on the exact planchet and condition, they can sell from $10,000 to over $100,000 and in the right circumstances, possibly even more. These coins were becoming hot topics in the numismatic world. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC began to identify and certify the many varieties and errors, which gave collectors more confidence to buy and sell them at high prices. And that's when the market for the 1976D Eisenhower dollar truly exploded. The 1976D era Bicentennial Kennedy half dollar, a coin made to celebrate America's 200th birthday, yes, the same coin you've probably seen countless times shiny, bold, and proudly displaying that dual date, 1776 to 1976. But what most people don't know is that hidden among the millions of these half dollars are a few with extraordinary minting errors, special varieties, and ultra-rare conditions that make collectors go absolutely crazy paying life-changing amounts of money for the right piece. Let's go back in time for a moment to 1976. America was celebrating 200 years of freedom. The U.S. Mint wanted to mark this milestone with something special. So, they redesigned three of the nation's circulating coins: the quarter, the dollar, and of course, the half dollar, and for the Kennedy half dollar, they chose a truly patriotic design. On the obverse, we still see President John F. Kennedy, a symbol of leadership and courage. But flip it over, and you'll find a powerful image: Independence Hall in Philadelphia, where the Declaration of Independence was signed. But that's not all. Some of the 1976D half dollars were struck on the wrong metal planchet. Normally, these coins were made of a copper-nickel clad composition, a mix of metals giving them their familiar silver-gray color. However, a few were mistakenly struck on 40% silver planchets, the kind intended only for collector sets made in San Francisco. Finding one of these rare off-metal errors is like striking gold. A 1976D Kennedy half struck on a 40% silver planchet has sold for over $10,000, and examples in pristine condition can go far beyond that, especially if certified by top grading services like PCGS or NGC. And if you think that's rare, wait until you hear this: there are known off-center strike errors where the design is noticeably shifted on the coin, leaving a blank crescent of metal. These are visually dramatic and can command huge premiums, especially when the date is still visible. A clean, off-center 1976D Kennedy half dollar can bring in $5,000 to $15,000 or more depending on the percentage of the strike and its grade. Now let's talk about condition, because when it comes to coin collecting, condition can make or break a fortune. Most of the 1976D Kennedy half dollars circulated heavily, meaning they got scratched, worn, or dinged up over time. But a few were set aside right from the mint untouched, uncirculated, shining as bright as the day they were struck. These high-grade examples, especially those graded MS67 or higher, are incredibly rare. In fact, a single 1976D Kennedy half dollar graded MS68 by PCGS once sold for over $20,000. And that's for a coin with no dramatic error, just a flawless strike in exceptional condition. Collectors today are willing to pay record-breaking prices for authenticated 1976D Bicentennial Kennedy half dollar errors. Online auctions have seen bidding wars where these coins reach prices most people can't even imagine for a 50-cent piece. It's not uncommon to see serious collectors paying $25,000 to $50,000 for one-of-a-kind minting errors.